electric bikes were supposed to be the future.
But I mean, really nothing cool about riding a Triumph. Yeah, big ack, thumbs up.
Silent, instant torque, zero emissions. Manufacturers, governments and tech companies, they all told us that this is the future. And yet, sales are slow, showrooms are quiet, and most riders, quite frankly, they're just not interested. So today, I just want to ask a simple question. Why is no one buying electric motorcycles? And more importantly, why they're not excited about them? The motorcycle industry basically expected electric bikes to follow the same path as electric cars, i.e. by way of early adopters, rapid tech improvements, and then mass adoption. But motorcycles are different from cars. All car buyers think about is comfort, commuting, running costs, and convenience. However, motorcyclists, we think about feel, sound, weight, range, but more importantly, how we feel when we look at our beautiful thing that's parked in the garage or when we ride it. And that's when things start going wrong. Because quite frankly, on paper, electric bikes, agreed, they do sound absolutely amazing. But in reality, they're a pretty bloody hard sell. So let's start with the biggest issue. Or the biggest frigging obvious issue. Cost of them. Electric motorcycles are so expensive, obviously compared to their petrol-driven counterparts. A decent electric bike will often cost the same as a top spec high-end motorcycle, or at least considerably more than the like petrol alternative. And what do you actually get for your money? Usually, you'll get less range, more weight, longer refuel times, and quite frankly, a very limited long range usability. And why is that? Well, because batteries, especially those of this size, are insanely expensive. Because all you're buying with an EV, be it a car or a motorcycle, a motor, a controller, and a fucking massive battery pack. And right now, the cost of a battery alone can cost as much as a complete petrol alternative and the drivetrain. So in essence, what's happening, riders will just look at the price tag and they'll think to themselves, why am I paying more for less bike? And the thing is, electric bikes don't just have range anxiety. In essence, most electric bikes offer anywhere between 70 and 120 miles if you ride gently. And quite frankly, considerably less if you actually ride like a motorcyclist. But unlike cars, there's no fast charging network specifically for EV motorcycles. There's considerably fewer charging options if you get out in the boonies. And there's no easy way, unlike a petrol alternative, just to stop for 5 minutes to fuel up and then carry on again. And then there's petrol bikes. Stop, refuel, 2 to 5 minutes, you're off. Petrol stations are everywhere. And there's absolutely no planning required really at all. Let's be honest. And that's the thing, for a machine that's supposed to be built around freedom and spontaneity, which is basically what a motorcycle is, freedom, spontaneity, that's a massive problem. Having to plan everything, where you go, when you stop, how long you're going to stop for. And then there's the weight. Batteries are just so fucking heavy. Unfortunately, there's absolutely just no way around that at all. Electric bikes, normally, even the small ones, weigh as much as a big petrol touring bike. But unfortunately, it just won't have the same comfort, and it definitely won't have the same range. And the weight itself sits low, which helps balance, so that's a plus point. But once you're moving, the weight is still there. So basically, on twisty roads, during slow speed manoeuvres, or just poodling around in the city, you're going to feel that extra weight. You're always going to be aware of it, and you're never going to be able to forget it. Or quite frankly, stop worrying about it. And motorcyclists generally, when they're riding a machine, they're incredibly sensitive to the weight and the balance of the machine that they're riding. Unfortunately, electric bikes just haven't cracked that yet. But this, the most important, in my opinion, is the part that the motorcycle industry have just not managed to crack or get their heads around yet. Motorcycling isn't rational. It's not like your stereotypical car purchase, which is done basically with their head. What do we need? How big has it got to be? How much have we got to spend? Blah, blah, blah. Motorcyclists, what we like is engine character, the exhaust note, the gear changes, mechanical feedback. The problem with electric bikes is the fact that they're silent, they're smooth, there's no gear changes. The power delivery is completely linear. They're mechanically, arguably, almost too perfect. Yeah, no, agreed, the instant torque at any speed is an awful lot of fun, but only for 5 or 10 minutes until you get used to it. And then you realise when you tip it into the next slow speed corner, you're driving around a frigging tank. But the biggest problem is riders are just like, get off it and they think, just feels a little bit soulless. And that's not them, it's not snobbery. That's emotion. And that's what motorcycling is all about. Because if a motorcycle doesn't make you feel something, it doesn't matter how fast or clever it is. But, this is not a video just completely bashing EVs. Obviously, they've got their place. Right now, EVs make sense for a number of things. Short urban commutes, city deliveries, riders who have, wherever they live, maybe they live near where they work or where all their friends are. The point is you can go out and do your normal daily rider stuff and then come home at night and plug it in, as opposed to relying on some really poor EV infrastructure that we still have here in the UK. But holistically, that's a very, very tiny slice of motorcycling, or motorcycle riders as a whole. Unfortunately, at the minute, EVs don't work for touring riders, weekend warriors, adventure riders, track riders, or even for people who just want to jump on and disappear for the day. So in essence, here's the brutal truth about EV bikes today. They promise less noise, less emissions, less maintenance, which are all great things, but they're not exciting things. Motorcyclists, me, you, we want more freedom. We want more connection with what we've got between our legs. We want character. We want fun. And until the day comes that electric bikes can deliver that, not just efficiency, they're going to stay niche. They're not going to sell. So electric bikes aren't failing because us riders are backwards. They're failing because they cost too much. Quite frankly, they do too little. And fundamentally, they don't speak to riders who ride in the first place, and more importantly, why they ride. And is that going to change? Maybe, probably. But right now, electric bikes just feel like the future arrived far too early, and they forgot to bring the fun along with it. And fun, ultimately, is why you and me got into motorcycles in the first place. Do you agree? Do you disagree? I know probably a lot of you will disagree, so please put something in the comments below. It'll be interesting to know what would actually convince you to go fully electric. Please like and consider subscribing to my channel for more honest motorcycle talk. Ride safe. And if it has a plug, make it exciting first. I'm Ak. Thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next one.